This is breaking news.
After more than a decade under federal oversight, the city of New Orleans and the Justice Department ask a federal judge to end the NOPD's consent decree.
The request means that Judge Susie Morgan can't officially end the agreement just yet because of an active appeal, but the judge can indicate how she's likely to rule. The city argues that the NOPD has dramatically improved in several areas that brought about the consent decree, including the use of force and discriminatory policing. If Judge Morgan agrees, it could bring an end to the court-ordered reform agreement that's been in place for 12 years.